Hey, welcome in everybody. It's Sunday evening. Well, it's Sunday night, I guess. I think we're past evening. Is evening past at 6 o'clock? They consider that past evening. I think we're in Sunday night now. It's January 14, 2024. Welcome everybody into the live show. Nice to see everybody here tonight. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the new subscribers, all the new members, all the new supporters. It's been kind of a wild ride the past about month and a half. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate the support. I get a lot of emails, and I feel bad because I don't have the amount of time to respond as much as I would like to write a longer response. I get a ton of Facebook Messenger messages all the time. So the continued support is amazing. Thank you. It's really good. It's really good. But I want to welcome everybody back into the live show. Feel free to chat on the right-hand side of the screen. I want to make everybody aware on replay. This is a live show, so I will stop the video. I will commentate. I will interact with the chat. That's what we do here. So if it doesn't work for you that way, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe probably go watch another show, but that's how we do it here on LTL. So I am super excited tonight to watch Melanie Little's stream with the canine expert that she had on that essentially debunks the Commonwealth's theory of what happened to John O'Keefe's arm. I haven't watched it yet. I want to watch this organically. Again, I'm super excited. And the gentleman's name that was on there was Garrett Wing. And I cannot wait. And I'm sure that some of you have seen this. I haven't seen it. So again, super excited to see this. Let's get into this. I'm not going to waste too much time here. I just want to let everybody know, because I know a lot of people are going to go, why did you ask Melanie if you could do it? Well, earlier on my Instagram this morning, I did drop a tag, and she knows that I'm using her material tonight. You can see it here, the Melanie Little. She liked the photo that I had up, and to me that would be the stamp of approval. But I will go further than this. Melanie, if you're watching and you would like to come here on LTL and hang out, I would love for you to come over and hang out and talk Karen Reed with us. I'd love to hear your perspective on all this, because you lately have been blowing up the interwebs, and we're loving it. We're loving the material that you're able to give back. We're loving, from an attorney's perspective, what you're able to give back, and I would love to hear it firsthand. So please, if you ever want to get together, come hang out on the channel. I'd love to have you here. Just email me, let's talk live podcast@gmail.com. So we won't wait too much longer here. Let's get into Melody's stream. I'm super excited. Have not watched this. I'm organically This is going to be the first time I get to see the run through. So super, super happy about this. Let's do this. I'm just going to speed up. I think she has a little bit of an intro here. Let's see. Is it going to play? Okay, here we go.
Hello, my friends, and thank you so much for coming to spend.
Please, if you haven't already and you want to watch an attorney's perspective on this, go over and subscribe to Melanie Little. I actually sent some of my traffic over there the other night. She was kind of halfway through her stream. I ended my stream. I was like, everybody go over and tell Melanie that LTL sent you. So that was awesome that everybody did that. I appreciate that. I just want to get to a couple of things that did happen before we got started with the stream, now that I have some pause here. Heather is a new member here of the channel, so thank you so much. Allegedly LB, thank you so much for the 99-cent super sticker. And I had Ruby on Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate the coffee. Thank you so much. All right, let's play through this. I'm super excited.
Part of your Friday, January 12th with me. It is 1 p.m. here on the East Coast in New York, and we have an amazing guest today to join the conversation about the Karen Read case and the injuries to John O'Keefe's right arm that people are trying to tell us was not caused by an animal attack or a dog attack of any kind, but was caused by a low-speed motor vehicle accident. So what I would like to show you first, to refresh all of our recollection, is the exhibit that the defense showed in court.
She does look like Michelle Pfeiffer. That's a good point. Yeah.
With regard to
she does. Hey, Ron.
Dog that resided at 34 Fairview Avenue on January.
Hey, Isaiah. What's up, dude?
29th of 2022, named Chloe. So just give me 1 second to find it because it's underneath something.
Yeah, those dang live streamers can never find the tab that they need. Here's the thing. StreamYard, you need to fix this. Give the capability for creators to be able to queue up multiple tabs. So all I need to do is press one button and I can go back and forth to all of those tabs. Even if it's 4, even if it's 3 tabs I can put out there together. StreamYard, fix your shit. Give us the capability. We can do it with live guests on here. Give us the capability to queue up multiple tabs, because this one tab shit, dropping the tab and bringing the tab and all that shit, let us queue up a couple of multiple ones.
These things just disappear. First thing we're going to do actually is we're going to look at my appearance, the last part of my appearance on Court TV, in which I tried to say,
and thanks to all the
looking at the autopsy photos of John O'Keefe's right arm and my experience as a 30-year litigator of car accidents and other injury cases, including dog bite cases, by the way, that in my opinion, I thought the injuries were caused by an animal attack.
Oh, I love this
but
segment.
I was quickly shut down by another expert on the panel.
Oh, I love this segment.
So let's just take a look at this so that my guest will know what we are talking about.
So good.
Tell me why.
Opinion. I mean, any questions?
Coffinduffer. Okay, all my guests back with us: Melanie Little, Peter Ellikin, and Jennifer Coffinduffer. Melanie, which case is easier to prove? That he was murdered in the house, or that he was murdered by Karen Read?
I have so many questions. I think it's easier to prove that he was murdered in the house.
Tell me why.
Opinion. I mean, where's the dog? Where's the dog? I saw the photos of John Proctor's right arm that were taken at his autopsy. They have what clearly looks to me to be like animal scratches on them. All of a sudden, the family dog of 7 years, they had a German Shepherd in the house. The family dog is gone. They rehomed the dog. The dog is missing. The dog's DNA cannot be tested to see if those were, in fact, animal scratches.
Street Squirrel.
You know, there's a cocktail glass.
By the way, I met Street Squirrel out at the last hearing. Hey, man, it was nice meeting you. It was very, very nice meeting you.
On the lawn, they never searched the inside of the house. Why did they never go inside the house to see if they had those type of glasses inside the house? Why was the basement flooring ripped up? The house was sold. Why did this police officer who owned the house and his wife never come out of their house to look at the scene when there is a dead police officer on their lawn? I have so many questions. And I think at the end of the day, it's the jury is going to have to decide the facts. And if we have so many questions from looking at these facts, I think a jury is going to have a lot of questions too.
Jennifer, which case is easier to prove?
I think it's going to be the Commonwealth.
Without a doubt, the case that he was hit by Karen Reed.
Commonwealth.
She had the motive. These are not dog scratches. That has been said.
I would love to do a survey. I would love to just take the photo of that arm and give it to 100 people and put A and B, car accident, dog bites, or dog attack, or dog scratches, whatever it may be. I would say 80% of the people, and I'm saying conservatively right now, 80% of the people would say that's a dog attack. I actually might do that experiment and just see what people, Chloe or Lexus. That's a good one. I like that one, Lana. I like that one. Chloe, a dog, or Lexus. I should survey 100 people that know nothing about this case and have them look at a photo. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go stand out like at a mall one day and just get people that walk in, say, hey, and just film them. You can get 100 reactions. Dog bite or car accident. I think we got something here. I think I got a video I'm going to do.
By two medical examiners, separate medical examiners that examined him. Also, there were samples sent to a lab in California to test for non-human or canine DNA. Negative. So I find it so interesting that people want to look at a picture and all of a sudden they're medical examiners, they're doctors with PhDs, and they can say these are dog scratches. Second to the point there, the Brian Albert, they sold their house months and months after that. Also, they had a leak downstairs in the basement that resulted in quite a lot of damage, and that's why the flooring was replaced. As far as the dog, Chloe got into a fight with another dog in that neighborhood. And during that fight, one of the neighbors went to separate the two dogs and was scratched or bitten. And it was decided amongst the people that they would go ahead and rehome the dog as opposed to making an even larger deal out of it. So there are very logical explanations, but these are the types of innuendos that have been completely blown up.
Innuendos that have been blown completely
advantage of doing at any time prior
up.
It turns out,
and after that appearance, I started to think that maybe I was in the Twilight Zone. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this absolutely did come from a car. But having handled motor vehicle accidents and dog bite cases for the entirety of my 30-year career, I knew that I wasn't crazy, but I needed some validation, not only from you, because all of you, I believe, feel the same way that I do, but I wanted to go to an expert, a canine trainer, someone who is a retired.
I wish I would have thought of this. This is such a boss move right here. And again, I'm first time organically watching this. I've heard about it. I've seen the screenshot and the posting up on Turtle Boy's Instagram and on the Facebook page. I'm like, I got to go through this. I cannot wait. I'm like literally salivating to watch this.
From the Miami Police Department, who has a YouTube channel with over 1.7 million subscribers. And he's here today. But before we go to Garrett, I want to show you, refresh your recollection as to the timeline of events here that the defense showed in court as part of the motion hearing argument to obtain the animal control records of Chloe, the German Shepherd, owned by Brian Albert and his family.
This is so boss too.
So here's the exhibit that was shown in court by the defense with the timeline. February 2017, this picture was taken with the family. The Albert family, and here's a little picture of Chloe. That's all that we really have. In 2019, the Albert family registers ownership of its German Shepherd, Chloe. January 29th of 2022, John O'Keefe suffers what they are saying is not animal scratch and puncture wounds, which are unexplained by the prosecution. And here's a picture that was taken at autopsy of John O'Keefe's right arm. In May of 2022, the defense
Bob,
began its investigation into.
Listen, I think you're right. I think 99% of the people that I would do, I'm going to go out and do that. I literally think I have my next video. I'm just going to go out to like a mall and just show the arm and just say, what do you think? Dog attack or car accident? And I guarantee you, just like Bob said, I think 99% of the people would be like, that's a dog attack. I mean, I've literally taken pictures here on my live and almost superimposed them, and they perfectly line up. Or just put them side by side. They perfectly line up.
The injuries of John O'Keefe. And then also in May of 2022, the Alberts inform the Canton Animal Control that Chloe was allegedly rehomed out of state. And here's where they were at present when this was shown in court. The Commonwealth continues to, can't read what that says, release the defense access to tissue samples obtained from O'Keefe's arm for DNA analysis. And we did go over that. We looked at the emails between the attorneys. Either the tissue samples were lost or they were never taken. And without further ado, I am going to bring in my guest for today's show, Garrett Wing, who has a YouTube channel. I have linked his channel below. And please give a warm welcome to our guest, Garrett. Hello, Garrett.
Hey. By the way, as the show goes, you'll see Nightbot in the chat here. It's going to drop, of course, my affiliated links. If you want to donate to me, I have Karen Reed's donations as well. Her defense fund, you can donate there. And I also have Turtle Boys as well. You all have the option to donate whoever you want to. And those links will drop throughout the show. So, all right, let's play this. I'm super excited to hear this.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Why don't you tell the viewers about your channel, tell us first about your background and your experience. And I just want to point out from the get-go that Garrett is not the kind of expert that could testify in court as to dog bites. But we are going to ask him and pick his brain with regard to his experience in his dog training, dog handling, police dog training, his experience of observing dog bites throughout his very long career. And we are going to get some information from him that way. Okay, so I'm going to give you the screen. Go for it.
Sure. And thank you.
Oh, God, and I just remembered something. I'm sorry. Back to that segment with Coffindaffer and Melody. The funny thing about it, Coffindaffer goes, well, the dog doesn't, she said in literally one segment, she goes, the dog doesn't bite. And then 20 seconds later, she goes, well, the dog got given up because it bit 2 other dogs before. And one of the times when the dog was in a fight with another dog, the owner of the other dog tried to separate them and got bit by Chloe. So it tells you right there that the dog attacks people. She totally burns herself. I'm like, she totally just burned herself.
For that. And not for nothing.
Sorry, all these things come to my mind.
I can pretty much guarantee I've seen more dog bites than most any medical examiner. And I would say that because people don't often die from dog bites. Very rare, even police dog bites, which can be very serious and very gruesome. So I don't think medical examiners get to see a lot of dog bites on dead bodies. It just doesn't happen. Now, we're talking about gunshot wounds, then I'd be a little bit out of my league there. But when it comes to dog bites, I can't even tell you how many I have seen. We're talking dog bites on humans, whether it's on a suspect, or we get a lot of what we call accidental dog bites in training. When you're training and working with police dogs, you play with fire, sometimes you get burned. But to kind of set the stage with my background, my father was a police canine handler since 1981 with the City of Miami Police Department. I was born in 1983. And so when you are born into a home of a police canine handler, the dog is like your pet dog. It's there 24/7. So I grew up with police dogs. My father had 5 dogs in his career. And obviously I lived with my father the entirety of my childhood. So not only we would have one police dog in the house, but anytime that first police dog would retire, then we would replace it with the next police dog. And so we typically would have one retired and one active police dog in the house at all times. And again, just to give you more of my background in it, because when you're in police canine work, it's not just a job, it becomes a lifestyle because you bring the dog home with you, as I said earlier. And so I would go often with my father to police canine demos, bring your kid to work day. And my first experience actually taking a bite from a police dog on a sleeve was at the age of 8 years old. I took a bite from what was at the time my family pet, but was actually my dad's police dog. We were doing a demo for some kindergartners, and he said, "Hey, Garrett, my partner didn't show up today, and we want to put on a good show for the kids. Could do me a favor, put the sleeve on and go hide in the bushes."
Yeah, I want to answer a little bit of this real quick. I'm going to pause here anyway. My brother, when my brother was alive, had 2 German Shepherds. One was a pup, was about a year, maybe 2 years old. What was the dog's name? I'm trying to remember. It was so long ago. Bristol. And that dog was wild. It could be so docile, but then it could get so wound up, and she always bit. And he had to rehome her. And actually, he donated it to somewhere where they train police dogs, and she became an active police dog. So I know. I mean, shepherds can get wild.
And I was actually like a little freaked out because I'd never done it before. And I told him, "Hey, Dad, I haven't taken a bite before." But having been in the game so long, my father was actually a little taken aback. He's like, "What do you mean you haven't taken a bite yet? Of course I've taught you how to take a bite from a police dog." I'm like, "No, not yet." He goes, "Well, today's your day." So that was the first time I took a police dog bite at 8 years old. And fast forward to when I was 16 years old, I started doing police ride-alongs with my father in the city of Miami. We're talking like late 90s. And late 90s city of Miami is very, very action-packed. A lot of crime going on, a lot of action in the city. And so our very first night out, working midnight shift in some of the rough areas of Miami, obviously, Overtown, Model City. And my father was a super go-getter when it comes to police work. He worked very hard and just loved the action, and spent 28 years in the canine unit. So our very first night out, we get in a stolen vehicle chase, ends up in a car crash, and a bailout. 3 suspects bail out in a school. And very long story short, I see my very first dog bite. I see how the dog tracks the suspect, locates him, and we get a dog bite at the age of 16 years old is when I see my first one. So not typical for a 16-year-old to be seeing that type of action, but I was hooked. Needless to say, from that point forward. And I already knew I wanted to go into police work, but that kind of sealed the deal for me right there. And so I started doing ride-alongs almost weekly with my father. And every time we went out, we would get into some type of action. And whether it's his dog doing a dog bite, or we would trail along another coworker who was in the canine unit, you name it. By the time I was about 18 years old, I'd seen more police dog bites than most police officers would see in their entire career, because not for nothing, the police canine unit is a very tight-knit community, and they don't trust even regular police officers to come in the backyard with them, to go on searches with them. They find that police officers who aren't up to par, who haven't trained with canine, become more of a liability than an asset. And so they're very selective on who they want in the backyard. And so it becomes very much just something special, right? When you form that relationship with the canine community or the canine unit, and they select you, because that's how it would go. And I'll get to that in a minute, but you're usually hand selected to go in the backyard with canine because they want to trust that you know what you're doing. They want to trust that you have their back, because it's a very dangerous job. And so anyways, at the age of 18, I actually got a job as a explosive ordnance detection dog handler. This is post 9/11/2001. Excuse me, I'm going to switch my earphones. Post 9/11/2001. And so all of these big corporations are really freaked out about terrorism, and especially bombs. And so I got a job with a company called Garrison and Sloan, still in business today.
because it didn't happen. Because it didn't happen. And the evidence is going to show that. I mean, we already know. In the Commonwealth, like I was saying in my stream last night, they keep trying to jigsaw all these puzzle pieces around to make it fit. And what happens is when their theory and their interpretation of the evidence comes out, it doesn't work. So they try to change the game and they rewrite the PCA 4, 5, 6 times. Oh, at first it was the 3-point turn. Then Turtle Boy literally debunked that. Then it was 62 feet at 24 miles an hour on an upgraded road in the snow on a curved road. Impossible. Now it's not 62 feet anymore. I don't even know what the hell it is anymore. So do you understand when it's not fitting their narrative, they keep changing it and changing and changing. I hope all that shit comes out in court too. I mean, if this even goes to court, which I don't think it's going to, but you know, it's just change this, change that. It was 2 pieces of light. Now it's 27. The pieces of tail light and the drinking glass, and this was in my stream last night, mysteriously stick to a bumper 33 miles from Canton, from Dighton to Canton, 3 days to process the car. You have a dead police officer on the front lawn, and then it takes 3 days for the state police crime lab to get to Canton, which is weird anyway. It was seized by Proctor, who was a state police officer. It should have went immediately to the state police crime lab, but no, let's tow it back to Canton and wait 3 days to go there and process the potential murder weapon. And all of a sudden, the pieces of the taillight just keep getting smaller and smaller, and eventually there's just no taillight there in May. And I know everybody said, well, they probably took the taillight out to process it. Fine. Show us the photos. Let's see the photos. I hope that's going to be at trial if we go to trial. I want to see that. What did the taillight look when they took it out? Because we know what it looked like when she left that night to go back to 34. We have video of it. And the shape that we're seeing it in now is not anything like it looked like the night she left at 5:08 in the morning to go back. So it doesn't, it's their narrative doesn't work, and that's why they keep changing it.
All right. They hired me. I was trained by my father to work as an explosive ordnance detection handler, which is a bomb dog handler. And I worked at the Port of Miami, Port Everglades, where we would sweep all of the materials going on the cruise ships, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Line, etc. So super cool job for someone at my age, only 18 years old. I had security clearance to work along the cruise ships and work these dogs, it's just an incredible experience. I was super blessed to have that opportunity. All the other handlers that were doing that work at the time were all current police canine handlers, and they were doing this as a side hustle to make extra money. And I got the hookup. I just got to tell you what it is. It was my father hooking me up with that job. Nobody else of my age was doing anything close to that. And so I got to work with, this is where I got my first real hands-on experience as a professional handler, working with German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois.
Hey, Mazamedia, thank you so much for giving me shout outs on Twitter. I appreciate that. You've been forwarding a lot of my content lately, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Dutch Shepherds, Labrador Retrievers, you name it. And all of these dogs were actually destined to become police dogs. They all had bite work training. They were just standing by, waiting for their opportunity to be picked up by a police agency, because that's what we would do back then. Is we would all police agencies would typically buy 2- and 3-year-old dogs that were imported from Europe, and that's the dogs I was working. So all of these dogs were fully trained. I didn't do bite work back then. I just strictly focused on trying to find explosives, but got very good at that. Did that for a couple of years before I started putting in my application in to get hired as a police officer. I get hired with the City of Miami Police Department, which happens to be the same agency that, again, my father had been working for already for a couple of decades. My mother was working for. She put in about 25 years with the City of Miami Police Department. Also, my stepfather and my stepmother all worked for that same agency. So I was the 5th wing to be hired with that agency. And fast track, you already know where I'm going.
I think this guy knows dogs. I think he has the credentials to critique a dog bite. It's kind of the impression I'm getting here. What do you all think? Let me know in the chat.
Going with this, my whole purpose of becoming a police officer was to get in the canine unit, and you have to put in 2 years minimum with our agency to be considered for a specialized unit such as canine. And wouldn't you know, 2 years, as soon as the window opened, I put in my application and got accepted, and was in the canine unit, which was really cool because at that time my father was in the canine unit, my stepmother was in the canine unit, and I was. And so that is completely unheard of. I've never heard of that ever happening, having 3 people from the same
Katie.
family in the same unit. And again, just kind of bigger picture,
I would say
my entire life growing up revolved around, like, our family vacations were going to police canine events. So my father competed in the United States Police Canine Association competition since before I can remember. And we would go to things called the Pig Bowl, which was something they don't do anymore, but the county would compete with the city, and it was all the police officers would do a football tournament, if you will. I didn't care about the football. What I cared about was the halftime show. The halftime shows were amazing back when the Orange Bowl existed in Miami. So what would happen is they'd bring in the helicopters, the dogs would rappel, the SWAT team, flashbangs going off, and of course, dog bite after dog bite after dog bite. And I was, to this day, I always find it amazing to attend those types of dog demos, those canine demos, and seeing the dogs work. But that's really my background, if you will. I was in the police canine unit with the city of Miami at the age of about 22, 23 years old. Eventually became promoted to sergeant. And at that time, there was some turmoil in the canine unit, a lot of turmoil. It went through a couple of iterations, different leadership. And again, long story short, I got hand selected to come in during kind of a rough time in the canine unit's history, where they completely cleared out all of the supervisors and the lieutenant, and they brought in a new lieutenant. They brought in me as the senior supervisor, and we had to kind of clean house. The unit had kind of been run into the ground, and they brought me in to remake the unit. And remake the unit we did, and we really, I mean, one of the best times of my life was when I got to come back as the supervisor of the unit that my father had been a part of for almost 3 decades, that I had been a part of. And now I got to make it my own. I was the senior supervisor in charge of all of the training. And man, I really feel like we took that unit to the next level. And I eventually get promoted to lieutenant. And long story short, I was no longer in the canine unit, but I had to get my fix. And I got my fix by starting a couple of companies specializing in, well, the company was American Overwatch Canine Services.
Well, I don't know, Katie. I'm going to pause this really quick, and I apologize. Again, you know, I talk during my streams. I'll pause, fair use and all that stuff. And I don't think Melanie would have a problem with this. She basically approved today, this morning, that she knew I was doing this. But I just want to piggyback off the case. I think that if we can all see Karen is innocent by looking at evidence that we've seen, the jury has to see it too. They can't all be biased towards the state. Then again, juries are unpredictable. I completely agree. But I kind of go off what experts say and expert lawyers say in this type of thing too. I mean, there is so much reasonable doubt in this case. I think it's going to be impossible for the state to prove that Karen did this. There's just so many things. And like I said, it's all those puzzle pieces that they keep trying to fit together and make this thing work, and it doesn't work. The jigsaw just doesn't want to go together. And you know, you're right. You know, juries are unpredictable. But if I was someone that didn't even know anything about this case and I had to go in and sit on a jury, honestly, when they just started, even like just my background of knowing cars and vehicles, I've worked on cars, I've owned cars, I've souped cars up, you know, and just knowing like the impossible thing to look at. For me, the sticking point is this 62 feet at 24.2 miles an hour. I don't see it. I just don't see it. And then here, seriously, my experiment would get, I'm going to do this experiment too. I'm going to go out to a mall, get that photo, and just survey like 100 people and say dog bite or car accident. I'm going to tell you, and I'm conservatively saying this, 80% of the people are going to say it's a dog bite. I mean, and if you're on a jury, if 80% of the people are saying that, what is the jury of 12 going to say? You know, I just don't see it. I don't see it.
And we specialized in, that was my first venture outside of police work, where we would travel the country and our mission was to make police canine handlers and their dogs just be better at their jobs, make sure that they did the best that they could, because it's a super high liability unit. And one of the specialties that we would teach is high risk, excuse me, getting interrupted by a phone call.
Always.
As always, always, but high risk tracking for armed and violent offenders. And that was our specialty. And we also would do a street worthy class, which was, guess what? The focus of that class was just to get dogs to basically engage and be tougher and bite harder on the street. And so that's just a little sprinkling of my background. And now we actually specialize in pet dog training. Of all the stuff my background is, the money happens to be, we say for every police dog that needs training, there's about 10,000 civilians or pet dogs that need training. And so that's what we specialize in.
Well, I hereby deputize you as an expert in canine.
John, this is, do you have to be a fecal expert to know what a picture of shit looks like? That's the clearest way of explaining that. And thank you, Jonathan. I think that that's so good, man. That's really, really good. I like that.
Canine dog training and handling, and you are, as far as I can tell, you know, very qualified to speak on this subject. So many people. Tell everyone, first of all, what your YouTube channel is, what the name of your YouTube channel is.
American Standard Dog Training. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. American Standard K9.
Right, and you have 1.7 million subscribers, so good for you. You'll have to teach me the secrets one day. A lot of people in the chat are saying that that somebody says no, Chloe had no canine training. She was a rescue, just a reactive house pet. Not sure about that. Somebody says that she was a failed police dog because of her aggression. Somebody said she was a police dog in training. And how many Lexuses have you seen with a dog bite upgrade? That was just a funny one that I put in there. Janine says, I was under the impression Chloe was a failed police trained dog. So what we want to do is talk about both scenarios. How a German Shepherd specifically would behave as a trained canine dog, and how one would behave if it was a household pet, and how one would behave if it was a failed canine dog. And I know that you have some video to show us. So let me know which one you want to handle first.
Sure. So I think the first thing that stands out to me, so I'm assuming, and I don't know too much about the case, I don't know too much about the dog. Chloe, I'm assuming this is a female dog.
Actually good. I'm glad that he doesn't know, because this is what's, oh my God. This is great, because this is coming from an unbiased opinion. This is someone that's blind going into this case. He's just looking at John O'Keefe's arm and giving his expert analysis as to what he thinks. And again, you hold that picture up and you go, Garrett, dog bite, or Lexus? And he's going to be able to distinguish this for us. That's really good. And that's what I wanted to hear, that he went into this blind. Didn't know. Oh, by the way, thank you everybody for the 14,700 subscribers. We're marching towards 15,000. That's pretty cool. And at 15,000, we're going to have a celebration. And I'm going to give away a nice prize to one lucky sub or member when we have that stream. So I'm excited to do that. Hopefully next week. It'd be great if we could do that next week. It really would be great. Debbie, thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. I appreciate that. Okay, let's keep playing through here.
I would imagine if her name's Chloe, but if anybody knows for sure.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up is it's extremely rare to have a female police dog. It's very, I think in my entire career, I've seen two. Extremely rare. Takes a very special dog, period. But we usually pick the males because of that testosterone.
Hey, Courtney, thank you.
They can handle it a lot better. Because it's a tough job. And not to say the female dogs can't do it. It's just very, very rare. So it's possible that she was a washout. We do have a lot of police dog washouts. They typically are washed out for what we call bad nerves. Meaning they can't handle that stress.
Discipline.
They can't handle the gunshots, the violence. We would do simulated type of, we actually do tremendous amount of testing. We can go deep on the testing of just what it takes for us to even select a potential candidate to get enrolled in a police canine program, which takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months. Once we take the dog, still 4 to 6 months of training all day, every day to get them qualified to even hit the street. So we like to do a very robust testing process before we even take the dog in. And I can dive into the details on what some of this testing might be, but one of the things would be just testing the nerves. Can the dog handle the stress of a simulated encounter with a bad guy?
It seems it's been confirmed through the animal control records that Chloe was actually a female German Shepherd.
Thank you, Debbie.
Okay.
So does that change your opinion at all? Or let's move on from here. Let's see what videos you have and what you can show us about what a German Shepherd attack would look like.
Sure. So I came across this video just in my own research of what I do daily. We do a lot of reviews of dog bites and dog fights and things like that. So this is fairly recent. This is actually from my hometown where I grew up in South Florida, Cooper City, which is a small town outside of Fort Lauderdale. And so I'll share my screen here. And this is a delivery driver, fairly recent. I'd say this is 3 or 6 months old. She comes and delivers a package. I guess she left something, so she comes back. And you're going to see a German Shepherd that I am very confident has little to no training. This is not a police dog.
Okay.
And you will see, because what I want to kind of frame here is you don't need to be a trained police dog. You don't need to be a trained protection or, quote, attack dog to be a dog and bite someone. There are a lot of dogs out there biting people left and right with little to no training. And when we get into it further and we talk about the actual injuries, it actually plays into the dog that if he was bit, that doesn't look like a police dog bite, in my opinion. And we'll talk about that. But let's go ahead and show you this video.
I agree, Michelle.
And see what you all think about it.
I agree.
And it's a little gruesome. I'll warn you now.
Yeah, trigger warning.
Yeah.
Trigger warning for anybody who's sensitive to this.
I'll get to the part where this is her after the bite. And I want you to kind of pay attention to the type of injuries you're seeing. And the thing that I want to just continue to point out is the type of injury. A lot of people think of dog bites are puncture wounds. It's very rare that a dog bite is a puncture wound. They are often lacerations. Think of it as sticking a knife in and pulling, because naturally that's what dogs do. They bite their prey and they pull. And or if you were to get bit by a dog, the very first thing you'll try to do is pull away, and it creates those types of injuries. So let's go ahead and go into the video here. This is
again any type of trigger warning for anybody. It's going to get probably a little gruesome here. I just want to warn anybody if you need to turn away or you get sick easily. I don't know. I just felt I needed to do that. But let's play on here.
For the woman is bit. She's in her car and she's a little shooken up, and you can see right here, and we'll play it in a minute. But this is not a puncture wound. This is a laceration from a dog bite. And then
dog attack.
Watch how quickly this goes down. Again, very confident that this is not a protection dog. This is a German Shepherd doing what German Shepherds were bred to do for hundreds of years. Protect their home.
That attack captured by her own dash camera.
All I can say was, help me, help me. I thought I was going to die.
Deanna Riveros needed more than 30 stitches.
I'm going to go back to that.
Look.
See the laceration?
Yeah.
That's not a puncture wound, but we're all pretty clear this is a dog bite.
Yeah.
She got bit. The weight of the dog alone biting and trying to pull its prey down to the floor, and her potentially pulling away is what causes this. Especially too, and we see this a lot in police canine work, when the dogs bite, we are actually taught to provide what's called back tension, and it makes the dog bite harder. And or when you see police canine handlers who aren't as good as they should be, when they go to remove a dog off of a bite, they're often doing what's called a choke off, and you can call it a choke off. It's more of like a rip off. And they will actually grab the collar of the dog, especially these really high just high drive dogs in general, which we train all day, every day. And we're basically telling them, never let go. Hold on. No matter what happens, don't let go. And oftentimes you'll see police dogs. This is a story for another day, but they often do not let go on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth command because they're like, make me. And so you're forced to pull the dog off,
Wow.
and it creates really, really bad, nasty lacerations. So we'll play this just a little further, but you can see how quickly this, well, my opinion, is completely untrained German Shepherd just goes right into action.
30
I just want to point out, wait, just stop for 1 second.
To walk
Sure.
after what
I want to point out that you said lacerations and that the medical examiner in her report calls those injuries abrasions. Abrasions.
Not an abrasion.
No.
Nothing close to that's not like a curb rash or street
Mhm.
rash, or you fall off your bike.
Scrape.
We've all been there, a scraped knee. There's no abrasion there. There's just straight up lacerations and potentially some puncture wounds.
Wow.
This
is
maybe a
really
slightly different
interesting.
angle. Just watch it again and we'll move to
I
something
am
else.
like, I'm fixated on this right now. I am so into this. Like I don't, we're only like 30 minutes in and I don't want this to end already. I'm fully engaged, captivated by this.
But look how quickly this dog doesn't hesitate to jump in.
error.
So I went back to her house.
When the door opened, a dog pushed past its owner.
I see the video and I'm just like, I don't understand how I escaped.
She was knocked to the ground as the dog kept biting into her body.
I just look up to the sky and I say,
And I'd also say that this interaction probably lasted no more than 15 or 30 seconds.
Real quick, I'm just going to pause this because I want to recognize this subscriber. Motion VIP has been with me for a very, very long time. Now, he's not always in the chat. You know, he's busy, but he always pops in every now and then. He's been one of my longtime supporters. And Chaz, I appreciate this. And he says, Brian, this is your year. You will shine more than ever. God bless you, brother. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of the good vibes. You know, we try to create good vibes in this community because it can get rough. Believe me, there's a lot of crazy channels out there. I'm not going to get into all that stuff, but I align myself with people that I respect. I align myself with people that have a vested interest when they do this and they don't make it about them. I see that a lot in this true crime community, that these people will start channels and it becomes about them. We're not here. You know, we're here for these cases. We're here for the victims. We're here for the communities. We're here for the families. We're here to seek the truth and get the truth out there. I have my way of telling it. There's other channels that have their way of telling it. You all know the channels that I align with, and I respect those people, and I would allow them on my channel any single time they would want to come up on the panel and help out. And if they ever needed me to help out, absolutely, 100%. But there's a lot of shit in the true crime community, and there's a lot of people that get in here and bash victims, victim blaming, victim shaming, and I don't stand for that shit. You know, I don't do that here. We align ourselves and we use facts. We use legal documents to back up facts or speculation. And that's the way I've always done it. You know, that's my style. So, Carrie, again, I think I saw another 5 come in. Thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate it. Pretty Insane says, appreciate you, Brian. You're doing great work here. Thank you. And thank you for being a member for 2 months. You know, and if we can get out there and help people, it's what I wanted to do this channel. I didn't have any real intention of really, I guess, getting into the true crime. I've always wanted to, and I'm going to go off on a little tangent here, but you know, my inspiration has always been Joe Rogan. He's the biggest and best podcast of all time. I mean, no one can deny that. I just want to sit down with people and hear their story. I want to sit down with people and hear their life story. I want to get out of this corner of my bedroom and actually get into a working studio where I can have guests in and just talk to people. And if I have to be an advocate for those people, maybe, you know, if I continue in the true crime genre, I guess is that what you want to call it, you know, I can get people in that maybe have cases that are still unsolved that, you know, potentially could be solved, or shed some new light on some old cases, or just have someone come in and tell me their story. How did you get to this specific point that you're sitting in front of me now? You know, maybe someone was dragged unjustly through the system. We need to hear that story. or maybe there's a feel good story, whatever it may be. And the channel will change, it will evolve, and it will grow, believe me. But right now, this is my place and time. I'm feeling it. And I just said to someone the other day, so how's the channel going? I said, it's literally just starting to, if you can see my hand, just starting to go like this. So we're getting there. I'm focused, and I love being here. And I really love doing this. All right, let's play on.
So imagine what a dog bite looks like when the fight takes place over 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. You're going to get a lot more damage.
And this is the dog attacking the dog's owner. Yeah, this is not.
No, this is a dog. This is attacking the delivery driver.
Okay, all right, got
coming
it.
back. But we often do see, and I don't know if the owner suffered injuries too. Sometimes the dogs will redirect on their owners. If anyone's ever tried to break up a dog fight, you find out real quick how quickly you can get bit when the dog's in a frenzy like that. But no, this is the dog attacking just an Uber delivery driver, just knock, knock. And the dog just jumped into what we would kind of refer to as like a territorial drive. Who are you? This is my pack. You don't belong. Let me defend my turf. But again, my point being, that's about an 85-pound German Shepherd. I don't know if it's a male or female. It doesn't really matter. Just how much damage can be done from a pet dog, what we would consider a power breed. And German Shepherds are often considered a power breed, meaning dogs that pack a punch and don't necessarily need to be trained to bite. That's what they do. They don't have hands, really. They use their mouth to explore their world and defend their territory.
Wow. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next video.
Sure. Well, what I'd probably like to show you now, let's see. Oh,
He's loving this.
I think we'll start with the video, and then I'll show
Brooding.
you kind of the aftermath.
Look at the
Let me
smile on her
pull this
face.
up.
She just knows.
I think we have one ready to go here. These are what we use.
I love it.
I don't even know which. There's so many cool videos to show you. This is some behind the scenes stuff that we don't normally share. But I thought your viewers would find it interesting how we get police dogs to bite and kind of the mechanics of the bite. And some of the
thank you so much. Motion VIP with $100 super chat. He says, amen to your words. See you soon. Wow. Thank you so much. That's really, really big. Thank you. Wow, that's really big. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Chaz. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Wow.
I said the equipment that we use, and I actually brought some.
Oh,
So if this interests you at all, let me know. But this is a typical bite sleeve, and we use this basically to allow the dog to bite as hard as they want, but to protect ourselves. These come in different grades, thicknesses, and they get thinner and thinner, or thicker as you need them.
Wow,
but as we start progressing and trying to get the dogs to actually, one of the hardest things to teach a police dog to do actually is bite human flesh. It's very hard to do because dogs, generally speaking, are man's best friend. And so to get them to actually go from biting equipment to actually biting real human flesh, some dogs, it's a very easy transition. Those are those harder dogs, a little bit crazier. But most of the time, we actually have a hard time getting them to commit to a bite. And so a dear friend of mine, actually, Steve Sprouse, who's been in the police canine world for probably almost 4 decades, invented this equipment that I want to show you now. And his company is called Arm & Lagan. And what he does is he creates these prosthetic limbs.
Oh, gosh.
Specifically made for teaching police dogs how to bite. And this particular one has a little bit more than a handful of bites on it. The idea here being we set up a scenario, a training scenario with a bad guy. I'll play the bad guy, let's say. The dog, by the way, does not know it's a training scenario. That's the ticket. That's the trick. In all dog training, by the way, whether it's pet dogs or police dogs, they don't know whether they're training or not. We try to make it as real to life as possible. So the dog comes out, we hide, dog finds the bad guy, and the only thing we try to make available is this, because this is the only thing stopping us from getting really bit. There's no other protection. And I want to show you.
Oh, wow.
You see the lacerations that are caused from dog bites?
Oh.
You're not really seeing punctures. It looks as if this was stabbed with a knife.
Oh, man.
Now, that's the closest to a puncture. But for the most part, it's ripping.
Oh, my God. Wow. Wow. Paula. Wow. Gee, that kind of looks familiar, doesn't it? Wow. Oh, this stream is so good. Melanie, you're so lucky that you had this gentleman on. Wow. 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 Oh gosh. This is so sick.
Pink.
They have like if anybody from Karen's team is watching me tonight, you got to get this guy. I mean, you got to get this guy. Wow.
It's a ripping type thing. Dogs bite and they pull. And at the same time, we are naturally pulling back to create our own back tension, which is exactly what what a rabbit would do in the wild. You know what I mean?
Look
A
at
rabbit
Melanie
doesn't. We call it. There's no such thing
smiling.
as suicide bunnies.
She
If a
knows.
bunny or any other prey item is getting bit, their whole objective is to get away, get away, get away, and that's where you get the lacerations that happen. So that's one piece, and here's another one. By the way, tell me if this doesn't look kind of similar to something we may see a little later.
Oh my God.
Pretty interesting, right? Don't mind the discoloration. This was just a funky mold. But again, look at the lacerations. And I have to kind of spread it because of the material, but
What? What is going on right now? I feel like I'm in a parallel universe. This can't be true. Oh my gosh. This is so dead on. It looks so familiar. We've seen this before. We've seen this before, right? Wow.
they're more like cut wounds. And you can see the angle, right? It's pretty consistent depending upon how you present it. So hopefully your viewers find that pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And if
Would
you
there
wanna,
go ahead? Let me just okay, go ahead, finish before you and then I'll
I
would
was
there
gonna
be
say if
yeah.
you wanted to see a video of a dog actually doing it.
Yeah, we do. Totally. But we're saying could you explain bite marks on one side of the arm? Maybe can't see all the photos and JO could have wounds under. Sorry if duplicate. I have not seen any photos of the inside of the arm. So let us know in your experience what you see in these types of dog attacks.
Sure. So yeah, sometimes you will not see like a mirror image of the bite. Sometimes it really is.
Let me just pause this real quick. Suzanne says, Proctor's initial report stated lacerations to John's arm. That has also been altered. That's right. I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. You are right. Suzanne always comes up with the good ones. I love it. Thank you so much for the $5 too. Thank you.
It's just like you see here. It's very hard to tell where the top tooth was, the bottom tooth was, where's the matchup. Those top canines tend to do the most damage. But it's very hard to match up. Like, is this the top? Is this the bottom? Is this from one bite? Or is that one canine? Is this a different bite? Very tricky to tell. It's not like a vampire bite, where it's two here and two here. It's never looks like that. And one of the hardest things to do, one of the not fun parts of my job as a police canine supervisor is writing bite reports. I cannot tell you how many bite reports I have done. And one of the parts of the bite report that is very important is to document in as much detail as possible the actual injury. And so, yeah, you could say he had a dog bite on the arm. Yeah, but it was actually, and this is, trust me when I say this, how do you have a 3 laceration dog bite? Meaning sometimes the dog bites are pretty straightforward. It's a single bite. And when we look at the injury, it's 1 or 2 cuts here and 1 on the bottom. And then I'm like, I'd have to call the canine handler like, hey, correct me if I'm wrong, man. Is your dog missing a canine tooth? Which happens. Sometimes they get pulled out, ripped out, whatever. It's like, no, I just got all 4. I'm like, well, I don't know how we only got 3 lacerations, but sometimes the dog's coming in at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always just a perfect bite. And the other thing that you see with untrained dogs or dogs that are, whether it's a police canine washout or it's just a dog who doesn't know how to bite, wasn't trained to bite, is you will see what's called shallow biting. Shallow biting is when they only use their canines to bite, and it creates a lot more of those lacerations versus police dogs, trained
Right
dogs
back.
to bite. We teach them to bite and hold and bite deep. And so, because what we don't want is a police dog to do more damage than they need to, right? We have a suspect that's refusing to say, come out. I don't want the dog going in there and just biting and letting go and biting and biting. Next thing you know, you have to explain, why was the guy bitten 8 times? The cleanest, best bite that we are looking for is what's considered a bite and hold. One bite, I don't care how long the fight takes place. It can typically last anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds, though some guys want to put up a longer fight, 2 or 3 minutes, which would be extended. But even if it was a 2 or 3 minute ordeal where the guy's all out fighting with the dog and we're struggling to get him in handcuffs, we're looking for one bite, one hold, and not all up and down the arm. But that takes a lot of work to get a dog to do that. What we see, and these are the dogs that get washed out, are the what we call nervy dogs. They're more like jabbing with their teeth. They'll reach out and bite, but they don't commit to the bite. And again, if they're not trained to bite and hold and they haven't built up that grip strength and they're not biting deeply, then it's very easy to pull away from the grasp of that dog. Very easy to do that, which then the dog re-engages, and that's what can create a scenario where you have multiple bites. And that's the first thing that came to mind. And in fact, when I shared the photo, the autopsy photo, and should I share it now so we
Sure,
can
sure, bring it up.
Yeah. When I shared this, actually, knowing I was going to come on here, and I was unaware of the case, but the photo itself is very interesting. Let me see if I can pull it up. You know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Yeah, this should do it.
Wow, this is such a great stream.
Yeah. Just bear with me as I pull this up.
Sure.
I'm going to just show you something. I am so inspired by this stream that I just donated another 100 to Karen's defense fund. We need to get this expert on her team and at least show up in court. So if that helps get this guy from Florida up here to help Garrett Wing, if that can help out, if that can help Karen's team to get Garrett up here, some money towards that. Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen. All right, let's keep rolling on here. Wow, such a great stream.
All right.
I actually sent this photo to 2 other police canine handlers and who are also trainers who themselves have seen,
oh my God,
countless bites. Probably between us, we've seen
side by side,
you know, hundreds each. And I didn't say anything. I said, what are your thoughts on this? And they said,
let me just pause this. I see one of my moderators says, LTL, you might have to go back and replay where he explains why they wouldn't be bottom teeth marks, because some people in here think dog bites bite like vampires still. How far back do I need to go? Do I need to go back like 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Was it the time that I got up? I got up to grab my wallet. Because I'll glad to go back. If everybody wants me to go back, sure, I'll go back. I have no problem doing that. Oh, I'm sure they do, William. Absolutely. But it was just really great to see this guy come up just before I got up. All right. So what, 5 minutes? Maybe here?
1 or 2 cuts where it's 2 here and 2 here. It's
we'll go back.
Of dog attacks.
Here we go.
Sure. So yeah, sometimes you will not see like a mirror image of the bite. Sometimes it really is. It's just like you see here. It's very hard to tell where the top tooth was, the bottom tooth was, where's the matchup. You know, those top canines tend to do the most damage. But it's very hard to match up. Like, is this the top? Is this the bottom? Is this from one bite? Or is that one canine? Is this a different bite? Very tricky to tell. It's not like a vampire bite, you know, where it's 2 here and 2 here. It's never looks like that. And one of the hardest things to do. One of the not fun parts of my job as a police canine supervisor is writing bite reports. I cannot tell you how many bite reports I have done. And one of the parts of the bite report that is very important is to document in as much detail as possible the actual injury. And so, yeah, you could say he had a dog bite on the arm. Yeah, but it was actually, and this is, trust me when I say this, how do you have a 3 laceration dog bite? Meaning sometimes the dog bites are pretty straightforward. It's a single bite. And when we look at the injury, it's 1 or 2 cuts here and 1 on the bottom. And then I'm like, I'd have to call the canine handler like, hey, correct me if I'm wrong, man. Is your dog missing a canine tooth? Which happens. Sometimes they get pulled out, ripped out, whatever. He's like, no, I just got all 4. I'm like, well, I don't know how we only got 3 lacerations, but sometimes the dog's coming in at an angle. It's not always just a perfect bite. And the other thing that you see with untrained dogs or dogs that are, whether it's a police canine washout or it's just a dog who doesn't know how to bite, wasn't trained to bite, is you will see what's called shallow biting. Shallow biting is when they only use their canines to bite, and it creates a lot more of those lacerations versus police dogs, trained dogs to bite. We teach them to bite and hold and bite deep. And so, because what we don't want is a police dog to do more damage than they need to, right? We have a suspect that's refusing to say, come out. I don't want the dog going in there and just biting and letting go and biting and biting. Next thing you know, you have to explain, why was the guy bitten 8 times? The cleanest, best bite that we are looking for is what's considered a bite and hold. 1 bite. I don't care how long the fight takes place. It can typically last anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds, though some guys want to put up a longer fight, 2 or 3 minutes, which would be extended. But even if it was a 2 or 3 minute ordeal where the guy's all out fighting with the dog and we're struggling to get him in handcuffs, we're looking for 1 bite, 1 hold, and not all up and down the arm. But that takes a lot of work to get a dog to do that. What we see, and these are the dogs that get washed out, or what we call nervy dogs. They're more like jabbing with their teeth. They'll reach out and bite, but they don't commit to the bite. And again, if they're not trained to bite and hold and they haven't built up that grip strength and they're not biting deeply, then it's very easy to pull away from the grasp of that dog. Very easy to do that, which then the dog re-engages, and that's what can create a scenario where you have multiple bites. And that's the first thing that came to mind. And in fact, when I shared the photo, the autopsy photo, and should I share it now so we can refer to it?
Bring it up.
Yeah. When I shared this, actually, knowing I was going to come on here, and I was unaware of the case, but the photo itself is very interesting. Let me see if I can pull it up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Yeah, this should do it. I think this will get it done here. Yeah. Just bear with me as I pull this up.
Sure. All right.
I actually sent this photo
Dude,
to 2 other police canine handlers and who are also trainers who themselves have seen countless bites. Probably.
I mean, bro, those are dog bites. I mean, come on. They're dog bites. Why can no one see this? Look at right here. If you even just copied and paste those over here, they're almost perfectly the same thing. And then these little wounds right here, look, they're almost these same little wounds right here. Look at this right here is the same thing. What the hell, man?
Between us, we've seen, hundreds each. And I didn't say anything. I said, what are your thoughts on this? And they said, there was zero question that this is a dog bite. Zero question to them. Their thought, though, was that this was.
So is he comparing John's arm? I'm a little confused. Is that John's arm next to An autopsy, is that what he said? An autopsy photo? I could be wrong here, right? Am I wrong? No, I'm not.
A police dog that probably should have been washed out. This is not what we want to see on a police dog bite. We don't want to see constant re-engagements, which is what this looks like. But this is what I would expect from like that German Shepherd we saw bite that lady, the delivery driver, right? Just naturally going in, doing as much damage as possible, not understanding the mechanics of biting deep and holding. These, in my opinion, are bites utilizing the front of the mouth. Furthermore, I had seen video, and I could be wrong, but when Mr. O'Keefe was last seen on that surveillance camera in the bar, it appears like he's wearing a long sleeve shirt, almost like a sweater, maybe.
Yeah, somebody was asking that exact question. So let me pull up that exact question, but keep going.
And this is exactly indicative of a dog, and we see this even with trained police dogs. When someone's wearing baggy clothing or long sleeves or jeans or a jacket, you're gonna get these more shallow bites. The dog's constantly trying to get a grip on the prey, and of course the prey item is moving away, and you're gonna get these. This is what's considered shallow bite marks. This is the dog trying to get a grip, but the only thing that's sinking in are those front teeth. And the biggest thing that kind of stood out to me, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but these this bite right here, I'm even calling it a bite. I'm trying to stay objective here, but these look like, and you see this a lot with shallow bites. What it looks like is this is maybe the left canine, maybe the bottom right canine, or the canine here, but these.
Is there a way for you to enlarge that photo
on
your screen? Yeah, there we go. It's a
V shape.
V shape.
Looks like the front teeth. Think of the dog's. Let's say potentially the teeth were here, the bottom teeth were here. These little ones here are the little, and I'm not a veterinary dentist by any means. These are the small little baby teeth. Actually have a very crude example here. I don't know if you guys can still see me or if I have to stop.
Yeah, I'm going to give you, I'll give you the full screen.
Oh,
don't mind this. We use this for one of our videos. Not the canines, but these little teeth right here. When you get a shallow bite, that's what it looks like. And I can actually pull up another picture of a dog bite that we know is a dog bite. And you're going to see the same kind of, I don't know if you want to call it striations, but those front baby teeth also causing damage. So I'll stop sharing for a second and then I'll reshare.
So Olivia asked, can the dog bite and scratch through sweatshirt sleeves, long sleeves, on long sleeve shirt?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, that's when you're going to see, again, more shallow biting, less punctures, because the dog keeps trying to get a grip, but that material offers just a little bit of protection and makes the material slip more, which gets you more of that kind of striping or laceration. So I'm going to share my screen again, and this again is another dog bite, an actual dog bite that no one's arguing. And you're going to see this is a very minor dog bite, but this is from those front baby teeth. I'm saying baby teeth, but you know, whatever those little teeth are between the canines. See that?
Yeah.
That might be from a canine, but this is that's just from a really, really shallow bite, right? Where the dog just barely got a hold of the skin, and those front teeth took care of it, which we can see a lot in dogs that are in more of a defensive drive, meaning they're not trying to kill something, but they're saying, you know, get away from me. So they're not committing to the bite.
It's so interesting because most people, I think, when we look at this, not being experts in dog bites or dog handling, would say that those look like scratches.
Yeah, that is a dog bite all day from the front teeth, those little baby teeth between the canines. They can do some damage too.
Great. Okay, you said you had a video.
Yeah. Let me pull that up, and we'll just show you some dog bites. Again, these are trained dogs that, or at least in training, learning how to bite, but you'll get a feel for what a dog bite looks like from a Belgian Malinois or a German Shepherd. Let's go ahead and I'll pull this one up, make sure it's kosher for you all. All right. Don't mind some of the sound effects that are happening. It's going to be allowed. No real trigger warning here. This is a German Shepherd, young police dog, about a year old, learning how to bite through different materials. Share my screen again. This should be good.
Okay.
When we do get them off, Run away behind that tree if you can. Like he fucked you up. Oh yeah! One more good bite.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't want to let go, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful dog.
Wow.
Really like that dog. We have other videos like that. I'll go ahead and pull up another one where you should actually see that raking motion happen. We're
Okay.
using newspaper in this instance just to teach the dog that if we ask you to bite, I don't care what the guy's wearing, because you'd be surprised what these bad guys do. They'll cover themselves in you name it. We had to bite a guy once.
We had to bite a guy once. How often do you hear that in everyday conversation? We had to bite a guy once.
Yeah, this guy had run into a school and he was hiding in, like, I don't know, it was a kindergartner's class or first grade class. It's actually pretty hairy because he was armed with a gun, and
Oh no.
it's actually a really funny story. It's
So
worth
it was a potential
pausing.
school shooting? Like this was not a
No,
training
this is
exercise?
after hours. This is after hours,
Oh, okay.
and there's no one in the school, but we knew he went last, and we had to get him out of the school because the next day it's like 3 a.m. We gotta get him out of the school because we can't open the school and there's a bad guy hiding. And guess where he's hiding? He had found himself in a classroom and just covered himself with like gym equipment, stuffed animals, you name it, but he had completely covered himself. Think of it like a pile of like dirty clothes.
Mhm.
And the only thing we saw when we passed by was his eye like poking out between like some socks. And I was like, he's right there. And then anyways, the dog smelled him.
And
The
that's
dogs use their nose. Actually, they don't use their eyes very much when they're in like a hunt mode like that. And the dog dove in, was biting like
this guy
like
loves it.
I don't know, somebody's leftover gym socks. And we said, no, that's
Wow.
not the bad guy. You got to re-engage and get the actual guy who's underneath all of that stuff. So, but anyways, I'll talk your ear off about dog bite after dog bite. Let me see if I can find a good one where, yeah, this is a good one.
Let me just hold on 1 second. I just want to highlight this comment to tell this person, helping a cop killer for clicks and views. Really? Is that what you think we're doing here? Is that what you think you do? Because really what I'm doing here is trying to refute Jennifer Coffindoffer's trying to make me look like an idiot on national TV, on court TV, by saying that those are no way in hell dog bites. So I don't know who you are, Slappy, but you might want to slap yourself out of this chat. Thanks. Bye. Sorry about that, Garrett.
Oh, it was so good. I love it. Oh, so you might as well slap your way out of here. I love it. She's so good.
We get him
Again, open invitation to Melanie. If you ever want to come on LTL, I'd love to have you over here and talk a little Karen Reed. It would be great to get your interpretation of all the evidence and go through that. I think it would be a lot of fun. All right, let's play this. All
right, so this should be a pretty cool one. This is a Belgian Malinois, a little what we call panicky on the bite. We get in so much talk about how dogs bite and the type of biting they do. This is a dog this is a very foreign material in his mouth. He's never bitten newspaper before, and we'll just see how he does. Present again. Thank you all for your patience. Doing pretty good considering.
Oh, no worries. You're doing great. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is great.
I am a dog trainer. I'm not
And then, then we want to see, I think you have a video on your channel or a video of a German Shepherd who is untrained. And you talk about, the natural propensities of German Shepherds in general and how they protect their owners, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes, very often, no training required with these power breeds that just genetic, that you don't need to train them to bite. You actually have to train them not to bite everybody. That's not always the case with German Shepherds, but there's different breeds. Like my breed of choice, one of them anyways, the Italian Mastiff, the Cane Corso. You really don't need to train that dog to bite. They will typically do it with no training. We actually have to train them to not bite. Uncle Jeff, who comes over once or twice a year. All right, so let's check this one out. Be on it. All right. There you go.
Watch your hand. Watch your hand. Yep.
This is your hand.
Use your other hand. Yep.
Yep. I'm going to switch with you in a second, and you're going to take that hand and a little pressure that way with the heel. Good. Don't be afraid. Still, you're safe here.
Good. It's starting to tear through.
Good, Stella.
One more. All right, now. Good. Take him off. Good. That was good.
And you see how much ripping happens, right? Rip the newspaper right off. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you tell us about German Shepherds generally as a breed? Assuming that Chloe was either a washout, as you say, or was not a trained police canine at all.
Yeah, I would lean towards it probably not even being a washout. Again, it's very atypical to have a female dog even potential to go through police canine training. I'm saying it's not unheard of, but it's very rare. But again, I don't even think that's the case. I think it's just your typical German Shepherd that has lineage of what we call working line German Shepherds, because not all German Shepherds are created equal, right? I don't want to go too deep in on the breed, but you have East German, West German, American lines, show lines, working lines, DDR lines, and all of these, even though they're German Shepherds, to the trained eye, they are very different creatures, very different. So not knowing anything about Chloe, but there's the potential, because you got to remember what these dogs are originally bred for, and that is to be, aside from herding animals, they at some point were shifted over to being amazing guardians, homestead guardians, right? And protectors, and of course, police dogs. My dad's first 4 dogs were all German Shepherds. My police dog was a German Shepherd, a DDR line, working line dog. Absolutely capable of biting humans. They're strong enough, they're robust enough, they're tough enough to go in the backyard with us and bite a bad guy. And then when the bad guy puts up a fight or punches them or kicks them or bites them, or bites their ear, they double down and they bite you even harder. Again, that's the best of the best will do that.
Mm-hmm.
But even here, you want to find something interesting?
Yeah.
Back in the day when my father was first starting out in canine, like I said, early 80s, his first police dog was, and this is where we got them back in the day, there weren't these really robust programs of training dogs, and we weren't importing dogs from Europe yet. We were getting police dogs. I say we, meaning the police community. We were getting like junkyard dogs. We were getting people's German Shepherds that they got from a breeder who were too much for them to handle. They're like, yeah, this dog's biting my neighbors.
Wow.
This dog's trying to bite my kids. I don't know what to do with it. He'd probably make a great police dog. And sure enough, that's what we would do. We would go and test these dogs.
Charlene, thank you for your
yep,
5.
the dog's got a little bit of a
Appreciate
mean
it.
streak.
Thank you.
We'll take him. We'll channel all that energy, his natural propensity to want to bite people. We'll just channel it where it needs to go. And so my dad's first police dog was exactly that. It was just a hand-me-down dog from some family that had bought a nice-looking German Shepherd that was just a little too tough for them. And so that still happens to this day. We get calls all the time. Hey, I have this really mean X, Y, and Z. You want to consider it for police work. Nowadays, we don't really want the quote mean dogs. We like them to be very social with the ability to turn on and turn off. But yes, I guess what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way is you wouldn't be blowing my mind if you said, yeah, I adopted a German Shepherd from the pound. I bought a German Shepherd from a breeder, and it bit my neighbor for no apparent reason, just because it came in the back door. I'm like, yeah, that's because that's what they do. Why does the German Shepherd do that? Genetics. It's just in their DNA. It's like, why does a goldfish like to swim in a bowl of water? It's just what they do. So it's very much in the DNA of a German Shepherd to be a guardian, a protector. And again, they don't need to be trained to do that. And yet, what can trigger a German Shepherd to do that?
Yeah.
Or any dog,
Interesting.
but especially these power breeds. It can be just stranger danger. They know who belongs in their pack and who doesn't. But for sure, what can instigate a dog to want to bite someone is seeing violence between 2 humans or even between 2 dogs. It's like this pack mentality. They jump in almost like a feeding frenzy. You all may have seen this on your own, where the family pet is the amazing family pet. Wouldn't hurt a fly, but the kids start roughhousing a little bit. Maybe dad is like roughhousing with one of the babies, and we're playing, but the dog growls. They're like, whoa, why is she growling? I've never seen her growl before. She's protecting her pack and trying to say, hey, I don't like what's happening there. So, that's typical too.
So Brooklyn Payzola says, so basically a German Shepherd would 100% jump in during a melee in the house.
Yes and no. Yes, there are some dogs that absolutely do it with no training. And I will also have to say the other side of the coin. A lot of dogs, regardless of the breed, will absolutely pee and poop themselves and run out of the room like, yo, this is not for me. It really depends. But I think we had heard that this dog had been rehomed and then rehomed.
Well, this dog, we know that this dog bit 2 other humans in skin piercing incidents, I believe, after this incident that were recorded, and those victims went to the emergency room. So we know that. So there's that. I don't know that we've had a whole lot of prior records with regard to this dog. Some people say that Chloe may have been a rescue, but I don't think, I think based on what you're telling us, it doesn't really matter whether Chloe was a rescue, adopted from the pound, a canine washout, that this breed of dog, a German Shepherd, may bite somebody regardless of their training or not, or lack of training.
Correct. Yeah. And mind you, we deal with this on the regular. In fact, the last German Shepherd we had in our program, he just went home about 4 or 6 weeks ago, bit his owner.
Wow.
No training, just a dominant dog that didn't like being touched or told what to do, and bit the owner right in front of us, actually. And we got him back on track, but no training there. We had to train the biting out of him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all great information. I don't know if you have any more videos that you want to show us. I'll look to the chat for questions while you're looking for that. Let me just see. Aaron, thank you for your super chat. At a hearing, Attorney Little, no relation to me, held up a chalk of the same photo to illustrate defense's point. Judge Bev immediately scolded her and made her put it down. I remember that. Thank you, Galen, for giving 10 memberships to my channel. I appreciate you so much. YouTube randomly distributes them. I have no control over who gets them. So sometimes I see people saying, I want one. How do I get it? You just have to be participating in the chat and opt it into gifts. Sarah, thanks for your super chat. Excellent guest host and a fascinating learning experience.
I agree.
Thank you. I felt like I had to defend myself against that Court TV appearance because I needed to know that I wasn't crazy. I needed some sort of validation.
You're not crazy,
this
Melanie.
Clearly looks to me like a dog attack. Katie May, generational conditioning protection is bred into them at that point. Would you agree with that, Garrett?
And I want to go back and think. She even said at the beginning of the stream that she's defended dog attacks, correct? Like, she's versed in this. Did she not say that? She said at the beginning of the stream. I believe she said that. She said, I have defended people in dog attacks. She's familiar with these cases. She knows what a dog attack looks like. But I guess she had to bring on an expert to validify everything that she was saying.
100%. Yeah. It's like I said, it's in their DNA. You don't need to teach. If you told me it was a golden doodle or a golden retriever, yeah, that's not so much in their DNA. They want to get belly rubs and they want to play fetch. But German Shepherds, Corsos, any of those guardian breeds, like that's why we get them, because it's in their DNA. I'm trying to find another video with, again, a completely untrained German Shepherd that is basically a menace, biting the crap out of people. And the dog ends up getting put down. It's kind of a sad story, but we did a review on this incident about 8 months ago. I'm going to pull up the video and just show you actually see the dog try to bite a police officer.
Thank you, Todd, for buying me a coffee. I appreciate your $20 super chat. Thank you so much.
Let me get this video to load and then we'll...
All right, sure. I'll just keep thanking people in the meantime. Thank you, Morgan, for becoming a new member. And just G, thank you for your super chat. We need Garrett as an expert witness for the defense. Who knows, after this video, maybe somebody will be reaching out to you, or more than one defense attorney might be reaching out to you.
And I'll tell you too, when it's time to get into that, if you want to.
Sure.
I've seen a lot of pedestrians hit by vehicles. A lot. You see that a lot. In the city of Miami. By the way, be careful when you go in Miami. Most people don't have a license or insurance, and they come from, third world countries where so you get a Frogger sometimes when you get across the street and people get blasted. A lot of hit and runs in Miami. A lot.
Wow.
But my point being, for someone to get hit by a car,
all right, this is good,
and be killed, there's damage. I mean, significant. It's not a little cracked lens. It's body panels completely mushed in. Like when you see a car.
Oh, Ah, Mary, this just jogged my mind. Mary sent me a video the other day. Oh, I'm playing this after. I'm playing this after. This just joggled my mind. Mary, if you're in here, thank you, because this just joggled my mind to play that video. We're going to play a video. I'm going to show you what it looks like when someone is backed up into and what happens to someone. Actually, the car rolls over them and they still move. And they ain't dead.
Or that's hit a deer.
Correct.
Lighter than humans. I mean, it destroys a
Yeah.
car. And so to have, you know, again, I don't know if we want to get into that or not, but
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I know you've seen, and I too have handled thousands of car
Yeah.
accident and dog bite cases during the course of my career, and
We're gonna
that
play it.
those injuries to his right arm specifically
Or did
are
they
not a
play it?
result
Did they play
of
it in the
a
stream?
low-speed pedestrian versus
yeah.
Lexus SUV accident. They're just not, and you know,
Exactly.
I totally forgot about playing that last night. I should have. Are they going to play it in this stream? Because I won't even have to play it. It will be there. No. Okay. We're going to play it, though.
you don't need to be a medical doctor to say
Thank you
that.
for sending that.
Well, let me
in my
share
opinion.
this. This is, again, a completely untrained German Shepherd. It had already bit. I'll just give you the backstory. It had already bit the neighbor for no reason, just what we would call leash reactivity. Is a dog that's hyper alert and doesn't want anyone near its pack. And the lady did not comply with a lot of rules and stipulations that were handed down for the dog to get training and to do all kinds of stuff. The lady was non-compliant, and so animal control basically comes and says, look, you haven't done what we've asked you to do. This dog is a dangerous dog. We need to take it until you get this stuff figured out. And in the process of doing that, police were there just to keep the peace, and this is what happens.
All right, let's say good intro.
Oh, I remember this. And that's a nip. Yep. You got bit.
Dog actually bit the police officer right there for no reason.
Wow.
Untrained German Shepherd, just being leash reactive and doing what it thinks it's supposed to be doing, which is defending
I've seen that video.
his or her mom. I think it's a male dog.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Just say it one more time. Yep.
Wow.
Hey, Dave, how are you? Good to see
Yeah.
you.
So training or no training, it's, you know, dogs can
I
bite.
love that app.
Wouldn't it be dangerous to rehome a dog with several bites like Chloe had, says Sushi?
Of course, you know, but it happens, right? We try to give the dog a second and sometimes a third and a fourth chance. Sometimes just a change of leadership, as we call it, will make the difference, but oftentimes not, you know.
In this same vein, Joey just saying, says, are German Shepherds more prone to continue biting people after a major attack? Would that explain the next 2 bites?
Yes. So there's some names for it, if you will, but when they get a rep like that under their belt, we kind of call it like a boxer who gets its first win, start getting a little cocky, a little confident, and you know, feeling like, yeah, first off, it worked out for me this time. And dogs can be pretty simple creatures. When I feel threatened, like look at that German Shepherd, zero hesitation. It bit that police officer because it's been doing that. It's been rehearsing that for, at that point, probably months and months, if not years. When I see someone I don't like, I lash out at them, and either mom removes me from the situation, which makes me feel better, or they run away. Oh yeah, you better run away. I'm going to get you next time. And so the dogs, even though they might not be biting each time, they are playing that out. And then, yes, 100% dogs that have bit before are much more likely to bite a second, third, fourth, fifth time. Same thing with our police dogs. Like I said earlier, it's very hard. One of the hardest things to do is to get a dog to actually bite someone. But once they kind of cross that bridge, that's it. Like you don't have to worry about it anymore. They just have to get that first bite under their belt, and then they're good to go.
Real quick, I just want to give a shout out to the few people that are watching on Twitter. My home base here is on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube at LTL True Crime. We'd love for you to come over here and subscribe. We have about 500 people in the chat. Come hang out, chat in the chat over here. If you're not subscribed to my channel, just look for LTL True Crime. You can come in this live chat right now and chat with us here. If not, you can keep watching on Twitter. I appreciate it. All right, let's keep playing forward. Probably have about another 25 minutes. I am so ingrained into this live Melanie Little killed it here with having Garrett Wing on, and I'm so captivated and so interested in this. And what a great stream!
Wow.
I want to
Here's a
thank
great
her for
question.
allowing
And
me to
so
do
a
this
couple of
replay
viewers actually sent me this question in
and
advance as well.
react.
KK says, what is the best way to end a dog biting you?
The only way is what we say: deprive the dog of oxygen. Simply put, you have to choke the dog out. Doesn't sound pretty. There's nothing nice about it, but trust me when I tell you, like,
Wow.
it's the only way. Now, and it seems extreme, but I'll tell you what doesn't work, especially with a really hard dog. And I hate to pick on breeds. I love all breeds, but you see it a lot, unfortunately, is the pit bulls and bully type breeds. They have tremendous drive and they have a very high pain tolerance. And so you see those videos where the pit bull or any power breed is biting another dog or a person. And you see people coming over with glasses of water. I saw one the other day, was happening in a bar. They're pouring milk on it, ice water, hitting it with a broom. It's not doing anything. You're just making the dog more pissed off, and it's just that much more determined to hang on to the bite. If a dog has a collar on,
choke it.
Hopefully it does. You simply grab that collar, inch it up as high as you can, and lift straight up. And wait a handful of seconds, and the dog will, it has a choice. It's, well, I'd like to bite this, but wait a second. I can't breathe.
Right.
Let me go ahead and let go and see if I can breathe. And that's how it works. It creates almost like a gag reflex. It's typically, by the way, 99.999% of police dogs are removed from, whether it's a training bite or an actual street bite, or what we call choked off the bite, or what's called a tactical removal. It's actually kind of a myth that they let go with a verbal command. You can give the verbal command, but the dog's like, yeah. I'll be with you in a second. I'm not quite finished with what I'm doing.
Right.
And so we have to do a choke off, but it doesn't harm the dog at all.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they take care of that.
Galen asks, thanks for being a member for 3 months, Galen. How much e-collar training do you use in training?
We are huge proponents of e-collar training. For those who don't know, e-collar stands for an electric collar. The bad name for it is shock collar, but that's old school to think that the tool is like just this evil device that just emits heavy shocks. It can, but when used properly, it's like a remote control for your dog. It's a digital leash. Just like a leash, by the way, we go back to the idea of how would you get a dog off of a bite? If you have a leash, you can often take a leash. I usually have one handy, but you can make most any leash. If you loop it through the handle, you have what's considered a slip lead, like what most vets use to get a dog in and out. Just like a little circular thing. You can create a collar out of a leash. So as long as you have a leash or a collar handy, you can use it to get a dog to let go of a bite. But even a leash can be as gentle as you like, or it can be as extreme as you like. But what e-collar training does is it does a bunch of stuff. But one of the favorite things that I love about e-collar training is it allows the dog to be off leash. So a fully off leash dog, whether it's in your front yard, your backyard, or out at a park somewhere at the beach, allows the dog to, I mean, what would they rather do? Be stuck on a 4-foot or a 6-foot leash, or the freedom to stretch their legs?
So I just wanted to pause this really quick because I got a really interesting tweet that just came into me, and I'll pull that tweet up. And I just thought it was fascinating. So I just had Julie Carpenter tweet at me, and she said, Brian, in no courtroom in any state in the country would a dog trainer be allowed to testify as a medical expert. Melanie is an attorney, and she knows this. So why could not this person be called as an expert witness? Well, I just looked up here and it says testimony by expert witnesses. And again, I'm not a lawyer, not an attorney. I'm not claiming anything, but I just found this to be interesting. It says a witness who is qualified as an expert by knowledge, skill, experience, training, or education may testify in the form of an opinion or otherwise as a proponent demonstrates to the court that is more likely that cannot. An expert scientific, technical, or specialized knowledge will help the tier fact to understand the evidence or determine the fact of issue. The testimony is based on sufficient facts or data. The testimony is product of reliable principles or methods. An expert's opinion reflects a reliable application of principles and methods to the facts of the case. So I don't know why they couldn't just testify as and that's from Cornell. I don't know why he couldn't testify as an expert witness. I mean, maybe someone can answer that for me. Again, I'm not an attorney, but we see expert witnesses all the time that come in and give their opinion. Yeah, and just like I was saying, I didn't say anything about medically, but if they came in as a canine expert, they definitely could do that. And then Rogue says he doesn't need to be a medical expert to be a witness expert. Yeah, that's basically what I was just saying. So, okay, we'll go back to the stream.
What the e-collar allows you to do, among many and many other things, is to get a reliable recall.
Yeah, I don't
And
think he
every
ever said
police dog on the
medical
planet.
expert, but he's an expert in his field. I mean, he has qualifications. So if they wanted to bring him in and give his opinion, I mean, we see that all the time. I mean, here's a classic one that was hilarious. West Memphis 3. If you go back and watch the first part of that, there was 3 parts, I believe. In the first part, they had a guy that came in that was an expert in the occult, and they had him up on the stand, and he was giving his expert opinion of what he thought was written and all the things that were written in Damien Eccles' journal. And essentially, when they came in and the defense got up there, because it was for the state, because they were trying to make this a devil cult, ritual killing, and blame it on the West Memphis 3. But they had him up there, and the defense got a hold of him and essentially said, where did you get your PhD from? And it basically boiled down to a magazine subscription PhD. It was pretty hilarious. So, but he was called in as an expert witness.
That is trained with e-collar, so that we can have that ability to reach out and touch them and control them. There's a lot of horsepower behind these dogs, we call it.
Wow,
and so
that's crazy.
When we send a dog out on a straight to bite someone, a straight meaning off leash, we have to send them up into an attic or down into a crawl space to get a suspect that's refusing to come out. Oftentimes the leash becomes more of a liability. It can get tangled. The bad guys can use it to strangle the dog. That has happened, strangle them to death.
Wow.
Send the dog in with no leash on, let it be freed up. But we also need the ability. Remember,
let's just do this. So Olivia says he could be called as an expert witness in dog bites. He doesn't need to be a medical expert. Yeah, I mean, I just read from Cornell. From Cornell, it basically states that he would be able to come in as an expert witness. He's an expert in his field. He can give an opinion. You can have a medical expert in wounds also testify, but he absolutely qualified as an expert witness, of course.
I told you can give the verbal command for the dog to let go, and they'll kind of give you the bird. And we can use the e-collar also to say, hey, I told you.
Hey, Blondie, how are you? Right, Blondie checking in. Hey, good to see you. She says there can be an expert witness without having academic or professional qualifications experience. The court is the ultimate deciding factor. The qualifications and experience of the witness is determining. Yeah, I love that. I love that explanation. I'm getting all blah, 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 blah. I love that explanation. And many people agree. Many people agree. Yeah. So.
Wow. Thank you, Don Burke, for your super chat. Don asked, did your DDR dog
Michelle,
come
thank
from
you so
Lord
much for the 10
Bloodlines?
on Venmo. I appreciate it.
No, not that I'm aware of, but we buy them through what we call vendors or importers. So we don't often know exactly which bloodline they come from or who the breeder is over there. But that one doesn't ring a bell to me.
Okay. Maria says she wishes you were Marta. I'm sorry. Says she wishes you were training cats too.
Hey,
Thank you.
I'm a dog guy. I'm so dog that, like, me and cats, I just don't get them. You'd be petting them one minute, they're purring, and then they smack you in the face or bite you.
Olivia, I knew this was going to stir up. Olivia says, Julie Carpenter also thinks that the criminal procedures allow for trials by ambush and doesn't understand basic rules of discovery. I love that. We'll go back to this too. Blondie says the weight to be given to their testimony. In some cases, the court may be required that the witness provided evidence of their qualification experience in order to accept as an expert witness. Blondie says, in layman's terms, it's crapshoot. Uh-oh, everybody knows who this person is. I have yet to
My mom, on the other hand, is a cat lady. She's got like 13 of them. So
Wow, really?
yeah, she's a crazy
Let's
cat
see.
lady.
Kimberly, thank you for your super chat. Unfortunately, Brian Albert had a bad temper, loves to fight for no reason. He punched a coworker in the face at a Christmas party for no reason. That poor dog is probably buried with the pool. I love your show. Thank you. Thank you for that. I don't want to speculate about where poor Chloe is now, but that is a sad thought. Sherry, thank you for your super sticker.
Barney, I don't know why you should just do true crime. You were talking about it earlier on your channel. You're obviously passionate about it. You're knowledgeable about it. You should just do it. Start another little channel and do a true crime channel like you said you were going to do it. Why fuss around with the watch stuff? You're good at it. You know what you're talking about. You obviously have experience.
And Elf becoming a new member. And Garrett, you have anything else you
said
wanted to show us video-wise? Because we have about 15 more minutes before I need to wrap up and get on my mommy Uber route. So,
sure. I mean, if there's anything specific they want to hear about, or if they have questions, I'd love to take questions.
yeah, if you have a question, put hashtag Garrett in the chat so that I can see it a little more easily. Somebody said, Tina the nurse said, would there be dog DNA in wound and on clothing if you know?
You know, that's not my specialty, but there would definitely be saliva. There's a lot of bacteria in dogs' mouths. There would be something, you would think. And I'm very interested too, because here's something that comes to mind. If he was wearing a long sleeve shirt and there was a dog bite, that shirt's going to be shredded. Now, was he found with a long sleeve shirt on, or maybe that was removed, tossed, burned? I would love to know where. And same thing too, if it is a high speed
we would like
vehicle
to know
versus
too.
pedestrian, those clothes could have some shred marks or something. So that's another.
Yeah, the defense is fighting to get those the clothing to test. Apparently there were some photos of the decedent at the hospital, and the clothing was either in a pile on the floor or by his feet. There's a lot of issues with evidence collection in this case. So I would imagine that there would be some dog DNA in there, but hey, I'm not a DNA expert either. Let's see what we can.
Well, that's the thing, Scott, and let me just talk about this again. The people that won't open their eyes and see the truth in this case, they're always going to try to, like I talked about at the beginning of the stream, they're always going to try to jiggle around the jigsaw to get those pieces to fit, to get those puzzle pieces to fit together. I don't have to explain that to you. You're a super smart guy. And we've seen this with the Commonwealth. When they put their theories out there, they write a PCA, they say this is what happened, and then they get to court, and Jackson, Unetti, and Little come after them, and then it changes again, and then Jackson, Unetti, Little says something again that debunks what they say, and they got to change it again. I mean, why do you think the FBI is looking into this case? Why do you think the FBI is looking into the investigation in this case? You're a smart guy. I don't have to tell you. But when the puzzle pieces don't fit, we got to keep joggling it around to make it fit, to make it fit the narrative.
Uncle Fredo, thank you for your super chat. Chloe was in bedroom on with Nix, Olay, and Jenwet up to inform Nicole about a fight, and Chloe ran to the commotion in the basement. I don't know the veracity of that, but thank you actually for your super chat. That's very nice of you. And let's see if you see any questions, let me know.
Just as
and you can
everything
certainly answer
we know.
them. Question: if Chloe was a rescue, could the dog be more reactive or anxious, potentially explaining why she didn't like other dogs?
Yeah, often rescue dogs can be more prone to having behavioral issues because we have to ask in the first place, like, why did they end up in a rescue? So you often find dogs that are in rescues are a lot of aggression, by the way. The dog was aggressive. Most aggression, I would say 95% of the time, is what's called fear-based aggression. That dog that we showed, the German Shepherd that bit the police officer, that's actually a fear-based aggression. That is a dog who thinks everyone is out to get them, and they have a choice: fight or flight. And when you see fear-reactive dogs, they're actually the most dangerous dogs to work as a canine handler, as a dog trainer. A fear-reactive dog, because they're very unpredictable and they will bite you because they're scared. And what scares them? Well, we don't know what triggers them, right? It could be as simple as they don't like people who wear glasses. They don't tell you that, but your uncle comes in wearing glasses and all of a sudden the dog's triggered and fires off for, no apparent reason. We don't know what it is that triggers them sometimes. But you can reach like a super fear reactive dog. A classic case is they have that fight or flight. Literally, they're having an adrenaline dump. They think you're the boogeyman or the boogeyman is out there to get them for no apparent reason. It could be poor genetics or it could be something that happened, some trauma in their background, which is what gets kind of scary with rescue dogs. We don't know what the trauma was. Was it a guy with glasses that kicked the dog one time and now they're very quick to lash out at men or children? Sometimes children they want to be nice to the dog, but they pull the dog's hair or their ears or they step on their tail. And now the dog has this deep memory of, no, little people are dangerous. I don't want them any closer. And so they lash out. But a typical dog that has that fear-based aggression would be, and this is the most dangerous thing sometimes you can do as a trainer, the dog's scared and it's backed in a crate. Well, you got to train it. You're like, hey, come on out. I'd love to train you. And it's like, nah, I ain't coming out. I don't trust you. I don't know what's going on. And you got to reach into that crate. And the problem is their ability to flight, to run away is off. So the only thing left to them is to lash out and bite to make you, the bad guy, go away. And so you'll see that a lot with dogs that are backed into corners. And that's where a lot of leash activity comes from. Not to bore your folks with this, but the dog is fascinated. It's trapped on a leash. We don't look at it that way, but it is tethered to you. And so I can't run because I'm stuck on a leash, but oh my God, here comes a guy or here comes a dog. I was attacked at a dog park at a young age, not me, but the dog is like, no, big dogs, little dogs, they can attack me. And hey, don't come over here. And then you'll see the dog kind of put on a big show, like I'm crazy. And you'll see them barking. They're not barking because they're confident. They're not barking because they're proud and they're just macho, right? They're putting on a big show because deep down, they're actually terrified of what's about to go down, even though something may not go down. In their mind, they're convinced, oh my God, there's a dog walking towards me on the sidewalk. We're about to get in a fight. Yo, get ready. Hackles up, tail up, get big, look scary. If I look big and scary, maybe I won't have to fight. And so that's where a lot of, quote, aggression comes from, is actually just dogs generally being under-socialized, poor genetics, and they're just scared, very quick to do something stupid to kind of defend themselves. Sometimes I use the example, you see this a lot actually with police officers who aren't trained as well, who aren't naturally like confident. Maybe they don't know how to fight. They don't know how to handle themselves. And it's those officers that are a little more shaky that end up doing stupider stuff, like very quick to resort to using their gun when maybe it could have been handled with their hands. Very quick to, pull the trigger, so to speak. Anyways, we could go.
So interesting. Lou Lamaraco, thank you for your super chat. I don't know if you can answer this, but Garrett, please explain the measured levels of canine bites, how this case is not a level 6 and the laceration to O'Keefe's head was not a canine bite. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of his head.
I did see it. Yeah, it does not look like a canine bite. It doesn't mean dogs can bite in the head, but that I think, because it also had multiple fractures. Very atypical for a dog to I say atypical. I don't even know if it could happen. A dog bite to a human's head and cause a fracture. Like, that's not going to happen. Very rarely, really strong, powerful dogs. We're talking, this is why we don't use Rottweilers anymore, by the way. We used to use Rottweilers back in the 80s and 90s. A lot of bite force, 130, 140 pound dogs, and they can actually cause fractures in the arm.
Wow.
With a dog bite. Very rare, though, for a dog to cause any type of bone fracture. It can happen, but definitely not on the head. And that injury to the back of the head does not look anything like a dog bite. That looks like, I hate to speculate, but a hammer, something heavy, something metal,
Yeah, that what it looks like to me too. But I'm just a lawyer. Is there a code word for a canine to make a positive hit on a vehicle stop?
No. I think what they might be alluding to, and I don't know, but a lot of people think that we. Well, I don't really want to get into it, but there's some speculation.
Wow, I think this is the first. We have someone from Iraq watching. That's incredible. That's pretty incredible. Someone from Iraq is watching right now. That's pretty incredible. That's the first time I've seen Japan, I've seen Scotland, I've seen Australia. I've never had someone from Iraq. Well, welcome in. That's pretty cool.
That we will make a dog deliver what's called a false indication.
We have
like
internet.
let's say
yeah, it's pretty cool.
let's say we suspect there's narcotics in the car. We can use the dog
No, I have another
to circumvent a search warrant to say, like, get into the car, and we're waiting for the dog to alert to signify whether there's narcotics present or not. And there's some speculation that police officers will
LTL
in
in
that
Iraq.
car, make sure the dog puts on a show. Look, anything could happen, but no, I mean, if the police officers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, no, they're not cueing the dog. In fact, we train the cueing out as much as we can. It's one of the tricks we do to make sure we don't cue the dog, because we don't want what's considered a false alert. I would hate to have a false alert, and it actually degrades the training because the dog should only be alerting at the source of odor and getting paid for that. And if you have a dog just giving what's called false alerts left and right, it's not good.
Excellent. Garrett, do you have an alternative to getting a dog off of attacking if the dog had no collar?
Yeah, I'm just telling you, and I go back to it again. The only way to get a dog off of a bite is to, and the guaranteed way that works 100 out of 100 times, is to turn off the oxygen. Think of, and there's actually a video out there. I'm not going to try to find it. There's a dog with no collar, and this guy, I don't know if he was MMA trained or what, but puts the dog in, I guess, what you would be considered a rear naked choke, just a typical choke out, and he just chokes the dog out. And
yeah, it would have to be another person doing that, though. I guess you couldn't do that if you were being attacked yourself, right?
There are ways, but I actually don't even like getting into it because
yeah, let's not get into it.
Yeah, and the reason being, like, I don't like, you never know who's listening, and I don't want to teach bad guys. Let's say, not that you're.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to do that.
How to get a police dog off of a bite. Yeah, but there are.
Yeah, what's the best way to select a puppy with a mellow temperament, low dominant temperament?
That is a great question. We actually have some videos up that talk about how to pick a winner. And maybe while I'm talking, I'll try to find it. I don't think it'll actually take me that long to find this because, you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth 1,000,000. But we like to do a test where we put the puppy on their back. And that's one great way to do it. We love to see what the puppy looks like as it's amongst its litter mates. You can really see the personality of the puppies when they're playing with each other. Who's the omega hiding in the corner, shaking? I stay very far away from the omegas, which could maybe be considered the runt of the litter, but that is a underdeveloped dog, both physically and mentally. And those dogs can tend to be cause a lot of problems down the road, be like fear biters. So we want to stay away from that. Let me see if I can find the video. We also tend to say, hey, stay away from, like, she or whoever that was that submitted that question, Alco, excuse me. Mellow temperament, low dominance. Well, one of the cool things you can do with when you get the opportunity, if you're working with a breeder, throw in a toy or throw in some type of treat or like a bone with some meat on it.
Oh yeah, Lee,
8 puppies, one prey item, and see who runs around with it. See who, because even at 6, 7, 8 weeks old, you can see who the tougher dogs are in that litter. And you may not want to go for the biggest and baddest and toughest. Often we go for the dog that first comes up to us. Right? Oh, it loves us. Yeah, maybe it loves you. Or maybe it's also just the most confident puppy in that litter that cares, you know, no F's given. It's like, who are you? I'm 8-week-old puppy. Who are you? Very confident dog. I like those dogs, but they can be more of a handful, right? I bet you that German Shepherd that bit the delivery driver was probably that real confident dog in that litter. Just very confident. So anyways.
Yeah. Garrett, does the dog's nails make any of the lacerations, or is it all teeth?
They can, but those don't look like, you know, no, I've seen like really significant scratch marks from a police dog, and they don't cause lacerations. They just cause like almost like a pink kind of, they don't typically lacerate the skin much. So no.
All right. Let's see. Do you have any final thoughts while I look through the last questions? Any final thoughts?
That's funny.
Somebody said the bruise on his hand to me looked like a paw print. What does Garrett think about that? I don't know if you can opine on that or not.
Defensive wound.
A dog paw wouldn't cause bruising like that.
No. Okay, everyone hit the like button because, you know, there's like over 1,500 people here. So
Yeah,
we
if
should
you
have
haven't
at
smashed the
least
like button,
1,500
please
likes.
do. Way to do it. Let's get it up to
Let's
400
see.
likes. Let's get this stream out. It's important.
All right, so let's just look. If you could pull up the autopsy photos again of the arm,
Yeah.
since you have them on your end, and knowing what
Well,
you
thank you so
know.
much. I did see
So
it.
with your
Thank you.
experience, that
I
our injury
appreciate it.
appears to
Thank
you to be a dog bite. For those of you who are just
Appreciate it.
tuning in, we went through this kind of at length at the beginning of
you.
the stream. So you can go back later and replay. And then other people are saying, how confident are you that those injuries are from a dog attack?
Thank you for the 5.
Oh, let me say, do you? Okay, here we go.
Does this work?
Yep, perfect.
Just the more and more I look at it, the more and more I'm convinced, you know, I would bet money that this is a dog bite.
I think it would have been great, I think, to really put this, lock it in. If he would have had some examples of some dog bites that he had in side-by-side comparison. So I was wrong at the beginning of the stream. I thought that because my screen is this tiny and I need glasses really bad, which I'm going to be addressing at the end of the month. In about 15 days, I should have glasses because I can't read shit anymore and I can't see anything. I was looking to the left of my screen. I've seen that photo. So I'm going, that's John's arm. And I thought he brought a photo of someone else and they side by side it. And then I realized at the bottom, the dates are the same and all that once I could see it. It would have been great if he had some samples of dog bites that, you know, maybe he had. I don't know if he has any of that material, but it would have been great to side by side it and say, look, you know, here you go, you know. So, but anyway, I mean, this is still a great stream and great idea by Melanie. It's, you know, she killed it in the stream. Garrett killed it. Just really good overall knowledge. I fully engaged.
Let me ask you a question on this picture on the right here.
Yeah, we saw that.
It looks to,
Yeah.
what looks to be a giant bump on his right bicep above the first two lacerations, I'm going to call them. Can a dog dislocate a person's shoulder by latching on like that? I saw one of your videos where you said, and the dog actually came after you with one of those, what do you call the protective device that you wear on your right arm when you're training?
Yeah, sleeve.
Yeah, and you said, it feels like I dislocated my shoulder. I'm just wondering if that is something that could happen because I don't know what that, I'm not a medical examiner.
Yeah, it would have to be an extremely well-trained dog that is very powerful to bite and hold, and then in combination with a handler using, you know, 200 pounds of their own body weight to pull the dog. You know, when could this happen? Let's say a suspect's hiding in a closet, refusing to come out. We've seen that happen. They're in a car. They're like seat belted in. I've been in situations like that. That dog has got a really good grip. And we use the 80, 90, 100 pounds worth of dog, the 200 pounds plus of me, and we yank with all of our might. Yeah, maybe you could dislocate a shoulder, but it is not typical for a dog by itself to dislocate a shoulder.
Okay. It says also John's autopsy wasn't done until 2 days later. So these wounds, the pictures of these wounds might look slightly different because of that. And yeah, I think we have to take that into consideration too.
Yeah, and you can even see what looks like swelling to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's very typical of dog bites is to have swelling, but you know, who knows? But these, like, I don't know how else you explain these, but this is very, very typical of puncture / lacerations. And this here too looks like it'd be caused by canines, but this is the one that sticks out the most to me.
Can you enlarge that photo a little bit?
Yeah,
it's a V shape. I can see from here. Yeah, it looks like a V shape.
Yeah, and again, to me, that looks like the front teeth getting a very shallow bite, but this looks like very typical dog bites to me, like very typical.
And you've seen quite a few dog bites.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
22 years of training canine dogs and police dogs, and as an actual police officer, were you a lieutenant or something at the city of Miami Police Department?
Yep. Yes.
All right, we've gone through all of these. Any final thoughts? I'll give you the screen for any final thoughts before we wrap this. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your knowledge with us,
Yeah,
because
good
I
stuff.
really needed to
I'm
make
glad I
sure
went
that I
through this.
wasn't in the twilight zone from saying that I thought that these photos looked like a dog attack injury. So I'll give you the screen for a second. If you have any final thoughts, certainly tell everyone where they.
Oh, she cut herself out.
Sure. So thank you so very much for the opportunity. I mean, really, my favorite part about this whole ordeal is just making connections like this, getting outside of the usual, like, hey, how do I get my dog to stop chewing my furniture? Going back into something that is near and dear to my heart, which is police canine work, talking about, you know, dog bites, and just love the opportunity to share my knowledge and reach out to some new folks who maybe haven't heard of me before. And, you know, for those of you who are interested in learning more about dog behavior or learning how to train your dog to be the best that it can be, we actually have the best. I won't say that, you know, just because they're mine. They really are.
Yeah, I mean, again, if Garrett Wing is out there and he's watching and he sees this, yeah, open invitation to him. I think Melanie kind of did it. So to kind of rehash that material, or if there's something else that maybe he might have forgot and he wanted to follow up, absolutely. You know, Garrett can reach out to me. I'd love to have him on. Obviously, go over and subscribe to his channel. I think it's American Standard. It might be, he's probably just going to drop all his credentials here. And I would urge everybody to go over and support him as well, too. So. But yeah, we'll keep playing this, and we're almost going to wrap this one up. And then I have a video of someone that actually got backed over by a car. So I want to play
Heart and soul into them. The best
then we're gonna wrap
online
it up.
dog training courses available. So American Standard Dog Training is our channel, but we have our website, which is DIYcanine.com, as in do-it-yourself dog training. We think the best person to train your dog to be the best that it can be is yourself, because you live with a dog, you know it better than anybody else. And so that's what we specialize in. We have some of the best online training courses, period, and the best support ever. Our mission in life is to help you get your dog across the finish line, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish with your dog. So please feel free to reach out to us. We're very easy to get a hold of from our website or through Instagram, whatever you like. And we can kind of help you with whatever issues you may be having with your dog, so that it doesn't end up biting someone in your basement.
Or in the backyard or anywhere on the street on a leash. I just want to address this one more comment, because I do not think this person may have tuned in late. So let's just say this louder, a little louder for the people in the back, or the people that are tuning in late, who say, I don't see punctures, I see lacerations, but not dog bites. No offense to your guest.
Yeah, and again, having seen countless dog bites, hundreds and hundreds and
puncture.
hundreds, if not thousands, it is extremely rare to see puncture wounds on a dog bite. They are almost always lacerations. Always. I mean, like I said, here you go. This is as close as we can get. Lacerations. That's what they look like. And the more untrained the dog is, the more likely it is to be a laceration than to be a puncture wound, because again, they're biting, they're pulling, you are also pulling away. They are going to be lacerations 99 out of 100 times, as you see here, right? Just lacerations is what it looks like. Ripping, the ripping of flesh.
Thank you. So to those who say those are paw scratches, you say
no.
Paw scratches wouldn't do that. Maybe from a lion or a bear, but
thank you everyone for tuning in. Thanks to the mods for keeping it classy today. Thank you to Garrett Wing for coming to visit us. He's got 1.7 million YouTube subscribers, so he's doing something right, my friends. Go follow his channel. And thank you to everyone, the replay viewers. Please leave your DNA on the like button. It's free. So is hitting the subscribe button and hit the bell so you'll know when I go live. Go follow Garrett. And like I always say, my friends, be cool, be kind, be classy. It's not hard. Be respectful in the comments. Peace.
Thank you, everyone.
That was a great stream. And I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. I just want to play one video. But if you haven't already, please go over and subscribe to Melanie Little. Her channel is blowing up like crazy. I'm jealous. No, I'm just kidding. She's doing a great job over there. And I'll drop her link there. I'm so glad that she approved me to do this. Like I said, on Instagram this morning, I tagged her in it. She liked the post. So she seems like she has no problem. She's commented on my videos before. Melanie, open invitation. We'd love to have you here on LTL. Reach out to me if you have any interest. Just reach out to me at letstalklivepodcast@gmail.com. What I want to do first before we wrap this sucker up is I remembered this video that one of my mods sent me, and essentially, I have to kind of piggyback off what Garrett was talking about when people get hit by a car. I mean, you even see deer, they get hit and they'll trash the car and literally scamper off into the woods. And here's a car that will fully back over someone here and will get and is still alive and moving. So the interesting about this video is it makes sense. And this was what I was always talking about. If the SUV hits you and they say the SUV hit John and he flew 12 feet, okay? It's essentially he's just bouncing off this car. It's not like any major injury, until the idiot that's driving didn't realize. But the guy, I mean, basically just bounces. I mean, look, it's not enough force. That probably hurt Sarah's arm. And you see it move. It's moving. So, I mean, that was like the whole thing that I always thought was like kind of weird when I watched is like, yeah, if you kind of got hit someone backing up like that, you kind of just would bounce off and probably walk away. I mean, that's I don't think it would just have enough force to crack a tail light. If it cracks that, if it, shatters the tail light, then why is there such minimal damage on the body? If you have that much force to shatter a tail light and smash that lens in from hitting someone's body, then why is there not more damage on the back of that car? Just like Garrett was saying, typically you have a smash injury. Cars hit a moose or they hit a deer. The car is trashed. It's totaled. And I've even heard instances of like my friends hitting deer and the deer will collapse the whole front of their car. And you're like, yeah, the deer ran off into the woods, like just took off after. So it's just, it's such a thing. And if you haven't seen my stream last night, we went over, it's called the shattered taillight theory. And I'm going to drop the link for that. Give me a second. YouTube's acting weird tonight. And if you want to watch that after the stream, I appreciate it. Let's see. Shattered. Where is it? Live. Here it is. Okay, the shattered taillight theory is right here. That was a great stream last night. Another great stream here tonight, and I appreciate it. And keep in mind, everybody keep in mind that this just happened in Karen Reed's case. I hate these headers they have. But acting U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts, Joss Levy, well, here goes, U.S. Attorney does not object to release of letters with feds in Karen Reed's case. The feds are on this. It was an acting U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts, Joss Levy, is allowing letters between federal authorities and the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office to be released in a new court filing showed on Friday. Sources tell 25 investigates a federal probe is looking into the investigation of John O'Keefe, January 2022 murder. 25 investigates requesting one of the 8 letters Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey sent to the DOJ's office for a professional responsibility, pushing back on the probe, but were denied. So keep in mind, there is a federal probe in this case. And it would be great to hear something about it before Thursday. And if nothing happens and Karen has to be there in court on Thursday, I will be there out front of the courthouse to support. And I hope that I can see a lot of you there. So we're just still waiting if it's going to be in person or Zoom. But if it is in person, I will be there. If it's a Zoom and we get any news, I will be live streaming that day, obviously giving you feedback. So listen, I want to thank everybody. We're going to wrap this up. It's it's past 10 p.m. here on the East Coast. I know everybody has to work tomorrow. I appreciate everybody being here. For next week, I want to let you all know I'm going to start a series, and it's called Looking Back. I've done this with the Idaho 4 case. I want to go all the way back to the beginning of this case and pull up all the mainstream media and all the court hearings, and we're going to go all the way through it to the current date. And I will continue on that path unless something majorly breaks in this case and we need to address it. I also have an Idaho stream probably planned midweek. That may not entertain this crowd, but I do have some peeps over here that do pay attention to the Idaho 4 case. So I want to get caught up a little bit on that. But my looking back, I've done this before. It was a great series that we did. I did about an 8-part series, and I'm going to go all the way to the beginning of Karen Read and what happened, and go all the way through it. And we'll read news articles, we'll pull up streams, we'll pull up news videos, and go all the way through. We'll re-listen to all the court hearings, and it'll be, really informative. So if people need to get caught up on this case, you have no idea what the hell we're talking about, you're going to get Education 101 on this case when we do that. So I'm super, super looking forward to it. I just got to get everything lined up. I may not stream on tomorrow. I may take that day off and start getting everything prepared to stream on Tuesday. And we'll start, video 1 or episode 1 in Looking Back, Karen Read, and we'll go all the way back to the beginning and talk about what happened. So thank you all so much for being here, supporting the channel. Thank you all so much for the donations tonight. I'm going to pull up the super chats, the buy me a coffees that came through, the Cash App, the Venmos. I hope people could get over and donate to Karen Read's defense fund. I just sent over $100 tonight. If you can spare any bit of money to Karen's defense, please, they need it. And of course, Aiden's defense as well too. Please direct some money over to Aiden. Let's help him out. And let's get him out, man. He needs to be back here. Let's get Karen free of this, and let's get justice for John O'Keefe. We know what happened. Come on, people. We know what happened, and we need to keep waking up the world to this case. We need to get out there, continue to talk about this. This is our First Amendment right to feel this way, to act this way, to talk this way. We can do it. We can. And just like Jackson said, we ain't got no quit. We're not quitting. Heather, thank you so much for your membership. Allegedly LB, thanks for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Debbie, thank you for the super sticker. Debbie became a member as well. Carrie gifted out 5. I appreciate that. Motion VIP, thank you so much for the 5. Carrie with another 5 memberships. Thank you. Pretty Insane used their highlight for 2-month membership. Members, you have that ability to do that. You can pull up the highlights and highlight something if you ever want to put it up there. And then Motion VIP with a big $100 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Suzanne with the 5. Charlene with a 5. And then the only Latina, thank you for the 5. And I did get your few cups of coffee as well, too. I really do appreciate that. Everybody, you're all amazing. Be well. I'm probably going to take tomorrow night off to prepare for Tuesday. Tuesday, what do I have planned on Tuesday? Oh, I have to bring my car to the dealership and get the seatbelt sensor fixed. So I'm going to love how much that bill is going to be, but I got to get an oil change, all my routine stuff too. So Tuesday morning, I'll be rolling and doing that. I'll come home. I think I'm going to have a rental for the day or whatever, a couple days. I'll come home, prepare for that. And probably on Tuesday, I may maybe I do my Idaho stream tomorrow. I have it pretty much set. I know that probably won't entertain this crowd, but if you are interested in the Idaho 4 case, probably 8 p.m. tomorrow night, I'll do that. And then certainly on Tuesday, prepare all day on Tuesday to kick off the first episode of the Looking Back series, Karen Read, and we'll go forward with that. So lots of great things, lots of positive things here on LTL True Crime. If anybody wants to know LTL True Crime, LTL stands for Let's Talk Live, because all the shows here. We talk live. Oh, by the way, I do have the enhanced video. I cut out the clip from last night's episode of the new video that I made. I'm going to drop that at some point tomorrow. If you can give it some likes and some love on that video, I would appreciate it. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate everybody for being here again, all the new subscribers. We're getting so close to 15,000 subscribers. And when we hit that mark, we're going to party, we're going to celebrate, and I'm going to give away a nice prize to a lucky subscriber or a member. Right now, we're at 14,717. We're very close. Keep watching the videos, keep interacting with the videos. Let's keep pushing LTL True Crime out there in this fucking YouTube algorithm. And let's get Aiden back, because that's important. And I'm sure I'm going to be doing something on his channel again this week to support him again. We have a couple things lined up, and I'll let everybody know. Thank you all for being here. Have a good night. I see all the chats. It's all super positive. We try to keep, yes, let's hit 15K and beyond and beyond. Everybody have a great night. Be safe. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.